Today we are in the 5th week in a summer series based on the 12 powers, your 12 God-given potential. We started 5 weeks ago when we talked about faith and then strength and then love and then wisdom. And today I have invited Dan to be our guest speaker as he talks about the 5th power, and God is calling somebody, so this is probably a good reminder. I forgot to mention that earlier. So a good reminder to send your cell phone into the silence as we welcome Reverend Dan Beckett to talk about power today. Thank you, Dan.
Good morning. My name is Dan Beckett, and I'm delighted to be with you here this morning. This is, in a real way, a completing of the circle, a coming home, because it was quite literally here that this path began. It was about 12 years ago that I first set foot in this church, which is the first Unity church I'd ever been in. And the way that came about is we had moved here from Michigan. And I realized I was moving into what everyone refers to as the Bible Belt. I didn't quite know what to expect then until we had a little plumbing done at our house, and the city inspector asked if we found a church yet. And I thought, oh, this is different than Michigan. And my wife, Heather, is a hospice nurse, and she went to work at Four Seasons and met Becky. Where's Becky? Becky, yes, this is all on you. Thank you. And Becky told Heather about this wonderful church. And here's kind of how it went. Heather said to me, I heard about this great church. Do you want to go? And I said, no. The next week, Becky really likes this church. I think that this might be something that you would enjoy. Would you like to go? No. And the next week, the speaker there is really quite something to see. I really think that you might like this. Would you like to go? Okay, fine, I'll go. And I walked in the door there, and be careful if you walk in the door there because you could end up here. You never know. God does have a sense of humor, that I know. The title of my talk today is Let Your Light Shine. And I want to open with a story about when I was young. When I was about 10 years old, I played Little League baseball, and we lived in New Orleans, where it's super hot and the bugs will carry you away. If you see a bug on this side of the street, you cross the street. And in Little League, I was the kid that when it was time for positions, they said, you can go in the outfield, because no one hits it that far. And when I was up to bat, they'd say, okay, everyone come in close. But I had learned about from my mom, who played tennis and was quite good at it, who's here today. Where are you? Right there. About this concept of visualizing the outcome that you would like to see. And I'd never heard this before, and I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. So as I walked down the street to the Little League game, I visualized what I wanted to see. And what I wanted to see was me hitting a home run. And I just reviewed that in my mind as I walked. No big deal, may as well. And I got down there, and when it was my turn to bat, I hit that ball out of the park. I don't think I'd ever seen any other kid hit it that far, let alone had I ever hit it even close to that far. And so that power that I touched there, that power of imagination, and that power that we have over our internal experience, our thoughts. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore talks about how thought is the connector between humankind and God. Between us and what he would call the lowercase m mind, and the God mind, or the divine mind. And the power I want to talk about today is called the power of power. Now, when I first encountered the 12 powers at Unity, I heard about the power of faith. That makes sense. And the power of love, that makes sense. And wisdom, okay. Then we got to the power of power. And I thought, what does that even mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. But now that I've been through the whole program, it's been years and I've studied it, now when I hear that phrase, the power of power, I think, what does that even mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to offer an alternate word that has helped me a lot, and that word is dominion, right? Dominion. It means that we choose to step into that innate power that we have, to take control of our thoughts, which is our experience. We literally create our experience by our thoughts. So when you think power of power, you can think dominion, and that dominion is over our internal reality, not other people, not the weather, not the traffic, but our internal reality. And what I have found is that if I focus on that, just as I did walking to the Little League game, that amazing things can begin to happen. I want to share a story I heard recently about the use of the combination of the power of imagination and the power of dominion. There was a man in the mid-70s who had been a bodybuilder and was quite successful at it. Huge guy. And he was giving an interview. And the interviewer said, well, what's next for you? And he said, I am going to be the #1 Hollywood star. And the interviewer had to hold back a laugh because this was the most unlikely person to be a Hollywood star. Not only was he gigantic, he had a thick foreign accent and a name that was practically unpronounceable. And she said, how are you going to do that? He said, it's the same way I rose to the top of the bodybuilding world. I have a vision of what I want to have be, and I live to that vision. He didn't say this, but he uses dominion over his thoughts to step forward 1 foot in front of the other toward that, to live to that vision until that vision became his reality. And that was, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who became the #1 Hollywood star about 15 years later. So it works. Be careful what you do. I want to switch gears a little bit and finish the story that I started. I would like to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger in success in life's a two-step process, right? You envision what you want, and then you live to that reality till you have it, right? Easy, we can all go home, we're done. Except it's not always that easy. And I hit that ball out of the park. Everyone's on their feet cheering, because that was very unusual. Not only for me, just in general, super unusual for me. I ran the bases and I sat down, and do you know what I thought in that moment? I am never doing that again. Because I did not expect, was not equipped to handle that much attention, to be in a spotlight like that. I didn't know that that was going to happen. And when it did, I really stepped back. And having touched that power, I closed the door to it. I just didn't have the support for it internally at that time. Now, fortunately, we can grow using our God-given powers, grow in the Spirit, and move through things like that. And that's what I've done over the years. You know, the 12 powers, while we can talk about each one individually, and that's important, really they all work in concert together. And often we find there are pairs of them that are particularly compatible, like love and wisdom, for example. You know, love is that great harmonizing power that brings all things together. But without wisdom guiding it, it can be diffused and unfocused. Wisdom, on the other hand, that ability to understand and see and choose wisely, can be cold and uncaring, left on its own. But combined with love, together, they create a very powerful force. So imagination goes right along with the power of power. And it's those two things that we use together. So in order to shift the way that I have been in the world, I relied on the power of strength, which is that power that allows us to get up each day and get moving, to stay the course, to put one foot in front of the other, even those times when you really don't particularly feel like doing that. That's the power of strength. And the power of faith gives us the confidence to move forward, knowing that even if I can't see exactly where this is going, I know that this is the right way to go. I can't explain how, but I just know it. That's the power of faith. And those two things combined are very powerful. So as you move forward and think about, how could I do this in my life? Because perhaps, and think about this for a moment, perhaps there's a door that you opened and touched that power and stepped away from and closed. Can you think of something maybe in your life, a current thing where that's happening? And if so, you can use your time of daily meditation and prayer, whatever that looks like for you. It's different for everyone. You can't do it wrong. Whatever that looks like for you, use that time to remember, I am a child of God. I have these 12 abilities within me. I have the power of strength. I can put one foot in front of the other even when I don't feel like it. I can trust that faith in me that knows that I'm on the right path, even if it doesn't make sense to those around me, even if it doesn't make sense to me. You can trust those things, and it's in your quiet time that you can remember and move ahead. And know that, and I want to stress this, it is safe for you to be powerful. It is safe for you to step out into the unknown. You have within you all that you need. You are already anything that you might need to be, whether you know it or not. And that's what it hinges on, is not, do I have it within me? Absolutely you do. I know that about you. But am I aware of it? And what could I do to increase my awareness? I don't have to go get something I don't have. I have to become aware of that which I already have. That's my suggestion for moving forward, and has worked well for me, and I know it'll work for you. I can see that power in your eyes. Every person in here. I want to share something I encountered from my new Bible. Thank you. That you have gotten me. From the Gospel according to Blurry. All right. The Gospel according to Matthew. Some powerful truth here I would like to share. We read, "You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." Now that phrase, give glory to your Father in heaven, the way I understand that is to be fully aware of the one presence and the one power that is God. That is how we in unity might, quote, give glory to the Father in heaven. Become aware of what is already there. All the power in the universe is within you. You just need to turn to it and become aware of it, and amazing things can happen. This has been, for me, a long, strange trip. From that time where I grudgingly agreed to come to church here, and then heard things I'd never heard anywhere before. I didn't heard about this divine within. I never heard someone referring to the Bible as I did in a way that truly made sense to me. And I remember thinking that walking out the door. That actually made sense, what he was saying. That was a new experience for me. And I don't believe or feel that others are doing it wrong, if you will, but we each need to find the way that speaks directly to us. That is our right path. And everyone's path is a little different because we're each a little bit different. How could it be any other way? So I honor you as you honor the path within you. And as you let your light shine and use the tools that you have to grow in the Spirit and do and achieve and be in the world that which feeds you to the highest degree. I know that you can do those things. And so, to get us on our way, where'd it go? Here's the audience participation part. Now, I had feedback, I have to share this, after the first service someone mentioned, Darlene comes from the Pentecostal church. And I don't know anything about, I do now. I didn't know, you're doing this, and you're singing and dancing. And my church experience is from the Lutheran church. So here's how you praise the Lord in the Lutheran church. That's what you do. So bear with me as this rubs off on me. But I want you to really know and feel the power of this truth. I would like you to turn to the person next to you and say, you are the light of the world. It is safe for you to shine. Go ahead and do that. Now turn to the other way, the person you didn't want to turn to the first time, and say the same thing. Now know and speak out loud to yourself, I am the light of the world. It is safe for me to shine.
I am the light of the world. It is safe for me to shine.
And now all together as a spiritual community, we are the light of the world. It is safe for us to shine. Amen. And God bless you all.